Item: SCP-986. Object Class: Safe. Special Containment Procedures: SCP-986 is currently stored in the Anomalous Document Repository at Site-11. The contents of SCP-986 are to be examined for changes by research staff on a weekly basis. Any changes to the contents of SCP-986 are to be recorded by staff after notifying the research director. A list of SCP-986 messages and narratives can be accessed with the permission of the research director. Preference for staff assignment to SCP-986 is to be granted to personnel with an educational background in literary criticism and/or cryptography. Description: SCP-986 is an unpublished manuscript entitled The Absent Willows, likely written by American novelist William Faulkner. The manuscript consists of 1,208 bound pages, containing an original work of fiction and a supplementary section. No references to it were made by Faulkner in any of his personal correspondence, nor has it been cited by literary scholars as being among possible unpublished works of the author. At irregular intervals, typewritten text will manifest via unknown means in the 850-page supplemental section of SCP-986. While the text of The Absent Willows is written in type consistent with the Underwood standard portable typewriter used throughout Faulkner's life, text appearing in the supplemental section does not match any known standard typeface. The content of the text appearing in SCP-986 invariably consists of a repeating 6-character format that upon initial viewing does not appear to have any understandable content. For example, GQCCKD of NSPXV. This text currently fills 58% of the supplemental section, with the rest comprised of blank paper. SCP-986 came to the attention of the Foundation in 1964, after a representative from Random House entrusted with examination of Faulkner's papers attempted to sell it to a literary auction house in Luxembourg. Initial analysis upon the recovery of SCP-986 determined that the anomalous text manifested in SCP-986 was a series of encrypted messages. Cryptanalysts soon recognized the pattern of encryption as a book cipher, but lacked the key. In 1972, with the use of computer-aided mathematical analysis models, the Site-11 Cryptanalysis Office identified a passage in the 1942 first edition of Go Down Moses as the key to the cipher. Messages appearing in SCP-986 have subsequently been decoded and transcribed.